Hey everyone, I'm Nicole,
And I'm Gabrielle.
and we are the hosts of the Spiritual Sisters podcast.
Join us every week as we discuss all the spiritual topics like astrology, mediumship, psychic insights, and so much more.
We are often joined by others we have met along our spiritual journey who are well versed in many of these areas.
Get ready for enlightening discussions and interviews and personal experiences that we hope will expand your mind and get you thinking outside of the box.
Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or just beginning your spiritual journey, there's something here for everyone.
Check us out every Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts. See you then.
Bye!
Hi, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Soul Ecosystem Podcast. I'm your host, Anna Rising, and on this podcast, we discuss all things soul contracts. I'm a professional soul contract reader, and I work with a modality that combines Jewish mysticism, astrology, tarology, and numerology to calculate what you agreed to experience in this lifetime. Before we kind of dive into today's celebrity soul contract, I wanted to say a few things because I've noticed a recurring pattern in my work as a soul contract reader, in the clients that come to me, and the part of the journey of life that they are in when they decide to book a soul contract reading. That's so funny. I have like a ball of light on my hair right now. Usually my clients are on the pinnacle of some kind of great transformation, some great step, either of shedding an old life, leaving an abusive relationship, leaving a relationship that's been draining them for a very long time, to the point that they have no energy to do what it is that they're called to do, or leaving a job that has also been slowly draining them. But I meet them on these kind of crossroads where they're seeking clarity as to what their mission is, what their purpose is, and how to get back in touch with their inner voice, with their intuition, in order to be able to assess that. Because as women, we put that voice on mute, that inner voice. We dial it all the way down to zero, sometimes in an attempt to survive, sometimes because we've been programmed to do it. And a lot of soul contract work is about coming back to yourself, coming back to your mission, coming back to the essence of what your soul is and what it is here to do. And a part of my personal journey has brought me to the realization that a lot of women are lost. They're completely disconnected from their power, they're completely disconnected from their worth, and in turn, disconnected from their mission. And for some reason, this past week in particular, I have just been binging so much stuff. I watched one video of some kind of like actor in Russia that is just so abusive towards his wife of like a few decades. And that one video spiraled into me just seeing nonstop videos of Slavic men being very toxic, very misogynistic towards their partners, towards their wives, and the expectations that they have of their wives are so inflated, while their expectation of themselves is so deflated that I felt like I wish that I could speak to these women. I wish that I had a podcast when I was this woman 10 years ago, at the start of my first marriage, if I had a podcast that spoke about how to tell if your husband hates you, how to tell if your husband hates women, and kind of gives you a play-by-play of the tactics that people use, that men use to keep women stuck in relationships, the love bombing, and then the immediate pullback of affection and attention to make you feel like you're the one that did something wrong and you're the one that's going crazy. If there was a podcast that explained that, it would have saved me so many years of torture and unhappiness in a marriage that I should have never been in the first place. So all of that kind of got me thinking, like, how does this tie into soul contract work? How does this tie into my personal mission? I know that my passion is to help women. I know that my passion is to empower women. And a part of that empowerment comes back to yourself, comes back to getting to a place within yourself where you trust yourself so much that you no longer need to seek outside guidance. And when I was in the thick of it, when I was in the thick of an abusive relationship, I definitely did not trust myself. I thought that I was the problem. I thought that I was going insane. I thought that there was something so deeply and inherently wrong with me that I could never be satisfied by the crumbs of attention that I got from my then husband. And I reached a very painful breaking point that I hope no woman has to experience. But that breaking point needed to happen in order for me to realize that the place that I was at was not normal. The relationship I was in was not normal. It wasn't okay. It wasn't healthy, and I needed to get out of it. So I want to create a space for women where they could come, where they can feel safe to share their story, to share their experience, to share what they've been through in order to teach other women the red flags of these kind of relationships, the red flags of these kind of situationships, so that we could avoid it like the plague and save ourselves a decade or several of torment. And this is exactly where the soul ecosystem comes in. My mission is to help women reconnect with their soul, with their desire, with their life's purpose and mission, and find the light inside of themselves again. Life has a way of kind of beating it out of you sometimes, but those moments, those difficult moments, are precisely what we need to get out of the cycle that we have created. Because at the time that we chose these relationships, at the time that we chose that job that is draining us dry, we did it from a place of lack. We did it from a place of unworthiness. And these situations pop up in our life precisely to teach us how to find worth within ourselves and not from something outside of ourselves, how to find safety within ourselves, not outside of ourselves, and how to find love within ourselves and not outside of ourselves. Because when we keep searching for external validation and external confirmation that makes us feel good, we set ourselves up for getting sucked into things that are very not healthy for us. And no woman is spared this. I feel like even the most successful women, and I see this sometimes on television, when looking at documentaries, I feel like it's so much more obvious now to me, having been in a very gaslighty relationship for a decade. You start to see the patterns, you start to see the similarities in other men that come into your life, or men that you see on television with their spouses, and you're like, oh my goodness, he's negging her, he's gaslighting her, he's projecting his own insecurities onto her. It starts to get very obvious. So I feel like women need a place to come to and be like, I need to know if my husband hates me. I need to know if this is normal because I feel like I'm going insane. And this is where I come in. And I am the perfect person to talk about that because I've been through it. I know what it feels like. It really messes with your mind. It has altered my nervous system beyond, I don't want to say beyond repair, because I believe that there is healing outside of this, but it's altered my health in such a way that I want to shake other women that are stuck in these kind of situations and be like, you need to get out for your own good. You need to get out for the sake of yourself, for the sake of your children, for your own health and well-being, because this is not going to end. It's not going to stop until you say that you've had enough. So that was kind of like my spiel on abusive relationships and my way of saying that I really want to focus on awakening more women to their worth, to their power, to their inherent value and what they bring to a relationship. You are not just somebody that does dishes and cooks and pops out babies. You are worth so much more than that. And you have a greater purpose. And this isn't to hate on anybody that wants to be a homemaker or a stay-at-home mom. I've done it for the better part of my first marriage. I'm saying that you shouldn't put yourself into a box, saying that that's all you could possibly be. And once you're an empty nester and the kids have moved out, you've kind of lost yourself again and you have to make your way back to what you liked before you had children, before you became a mom. Soul contract work did that for me. Soul contract work combined all of the things that I have been interested in since I was a little kid. It brought out my passion. It helped me find my purpose, and my purpose is to help other women find theirs. Without further ado, I feel like that was really long-winded. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it to take up like a quarter of an episode. We're going to be looking into Alex Cooper's soul contract. Alex Cooper is the host of the very, very famous Call Her Daddy podcast. For those of you that aren't familiar with her, her full name is Alexandra Cooper. She was born August 21st, 1994. So already we have August having the 8 energy in her soul contract. 8s are old souls. They're very, very wise. This isn't their first go around incarnating, and it explains why Alex Cooper had the forethought to share her message of empowerment, of feminism, and be able to gain the kind of cult like following that she gained. She was born in Newtown, Pennsylvania. I actually know where that is because I grew up like half an hour away from it. I grew up in Philly, so it's a little north of Philly. Growing up, she dealt with bullying and often turned to creative projects, making videos with her friends in her family's basement. And I actually saw these videos that she made as a kid from her documentary called Call Her Alex. I recently saw that and I'm like, I need to look into her soul contract because that is absolutely fascinating that what she was drawn to as a child, like videography, is now her full-time gig and her passion, and has made her millions upon millions of dollars. In her early life, she played soccer competitively and earned a scholarship to Boston University, where she played as a midfielder. She attended Boston University, where she completed her college degree while also playing Division I women's soccer. In 2018, after graduating and moving to New York, Alex co-created the podcast Call Her Daddy with her roommate, Sophia Franklin. This show was originally picked up by Barstool Sports 1 month after its debut and quickly exploded in popularity due to its candid, humorous, and taboo-breaking conversations about sex, relationships, and dating life. After gaining millions of listeners, Alex became the sole host of Call Her Daddy, following a public split with Franklin over contract terms. In 2021, she signed an executive deal with Spotify worth apparently $60 million, making her one of the highest paid podcasters in the world. Later, her business expanded further into a broader media empire under her company Unwell, with a reported $125 million deal from SiriusXM. If you guys were interested in watching her Call Her Alex documentary, it's on Hulu's Disney Plus, and it offers a sneak peek into Alex Cooper's childhood, her life in college, and how she became Call Her Daddy. Over the years, Cooper, and this is why I absolutely love her because I love what she's done. I love her mission. Cooper has become a prominent voice for sexual empowerment, women's rights, and candid conversations in media. Now, we're going to start off with subconscious programs today in Alex Cooper's chart. And I don't know why I felt called to do that, but as soon as I looked at it, I'm like, okay, it makes total sense. She has a subconscious program called High Spiritual Unification Mission. So she incarnated purposefully to unite like-minded people that think the same way as her, to be a force of unity and bring people together towards a common cause. And I absolutely love that this common cause is empowerment and women's rights and doing kind of something that nobody's ever done before. Like if you think about all of the podcasts where sex is a topic, it's primarily men. And she was the first podcaster that was a woman and was being so candid and open about talking about sex and her sex life and what it's like for women. Whenever I see this mission in particular, when it comes to someone's subconscious programs, I know that this person was very intentional with their incarnation and has a big mission that they want to fulfill in this lifetime. Alex Cooper becoming like a multi-millionaire podcast host was very intentional because that was a part of what she wanted to come here to do. She wanted to be a uniting force and not sow division, not sow hatred, but help women feel good about themselves, about their bodies, and normalize a lot of things that were too taboo to speak on before. One of the subconscious programs she has that kind of gives us a sneak peek into why she was such a great soccer player that she was able to get a scholarship to Boston University is the Inquisition program. The Inquisition program, at its best, gives a very strong inner authority and strength of will, intellectual independence, and the courage to live according to their truth of outside opinions, outside judgment, which explains why it was so easy for her to touch on subjects that people, especially women, are very slow to touch on. With a person that has the Inquisition program, there's an openness to new ideas. There's really unconventional thinking and a very clear sense of identity that allows the bearer to follow what genuinely resonates with them. Another green flag in Alex Cooper's soul contract is the subconscious program called Sacred Sacrifice. This program carries the imprint of a very deep emotional memory and karmic exchange. Because one of her missions was to experience life fully, to the full capacity of it, of pleasure, of success, of depth, and of meaning. And sacred sacrifice is about having the strength to relinquish personal advantage for the greater good. People with this subconscious program often may seem more reserved or more strict when you meet them in person, but it's not because they lack compassion. It's because they are very good at handling their emotions. They are able to feel very deeply, but not have it kind of escalate to a point where they can't control their emotions or where they get overwhelmed. Another key ingredient in the soul that is Alex Cooper is the broken systems program she carries. It is, in its highest expression, it allows a person to see both the big picture and the precise point where things break down. She is excellent at pattern recognition. She can intuitively detect flaws in systems of all kinds, relationships, organizations, social structures, and even collective belief systems. She can recognize patterns others miss and can understand how a small failure can slowly ripple into a large scale collapse. Part of the reason that she is excellent at what she does is because she has it in her soul contract. Part of the reason she is so excellent at what she does is because it's in her soul contract to have strong inner discipline, emotional maturity, and a very serious approach to partnership, family, and long-term stability. In her docuseries, I believe it was, she talked about how she thought she would never get married when she was getting married to her now husband. And I think it's precisely because of this piece of her soul contract, because of how seriously she takes it, that she was just waiting for the right reason to do something like get married. She tends to be practical, logical, forward thinking, and she has a natural instinct to protect herself, plan ahead, and face challenges independently without leaning on the help of others. She is inherently coded with an ability that gives her a strong inner alignment with who she is, how she lives, what she values, and she values honesty in relationships, transparency, and clarity in agreements and contracts. She has little to no interest into how things may appear. She prefers something that's raw. She prefers things that are real over things that are performative. And this energy kind of manifests as a natural sense of responsibility, ethical awareness, and a desire to protect both her own interests and the rights of those who cannot advocate for themselves. And when you think about everything that she managed to accomplish with her podcast, with her voice and what she puts out there, it makes so much sense that her soul contract is structured in the way that it is when she has missions like these. Missions to empower others, not just for her own benefit, not just for success, not just to get recognition and fame, but also to be an advocate for those that might not have the same luxury, that might not have the same opportunity as she does. Looking into her spiritual gifts and talents, it's also not a surprise that the first one she has on there is justice. She does not stand for injustice. She's very passionate about people being treated fairly. And she also has the world talent slash spiritual gift. This means that she could be comfortable anywhere in the world. She's one of those types of people that isn't really attached to material things, isn't really attached to a sense of home. There's not that need like for hominess, like to come back to the same place every single night and kind of get into your routine. She can live in any country and flourish there. She also has the gift of transformation. And transformation is a very beautiful gift. What that means is if this fails, if Call Her Daddy failed the first time around, she would have picked it back up. She would have redid what she needed to redo and been able to kind of flip that on its head and transform it into a success. She is somebody that doesn't back away from struggle, from challenges. She knows how to keep going. She knows how to pick herself back up when she has an ego death, when she has something that falls through, something that fails. She doesn't dwell on it, and she can utilize it to transmute that energy and make it into something whole again, something more brilliant than it was before. When we look at her destiny, destiny is one of the when we look at her destiny, it's one of my favorite things to look into, to see the numerology there, to see kind of the rough draft of the direction that her soul wanted to go in when incarnating. And for her destiny, she has the numbers 15, 8, and 5. 15 comes with a little bit of a gift, like a superpower. People with 15 destiny numbers have a gift of foresight. They intuitively know when things are going to happen, if something's going to take off, if something is going to work out, or if it's like going to be dead in the water and just fall through. This may explain why she was able to come up with the idea for something like Call Her Daddy and have it be as successful as it is. With the number 15, it's important to use this gift of foresight for the benefit of others and to help other people, which is exactly what she did with Call Her Daddy. The following that she has is absolutely insane. The amount of people that show up for her tours of this podcast is absolutely insane. And you can see how and why so many people are passionate about her voice, about her message. There were so many people that got up and were like, you've gotten me through like the darkest points of my life. Thank you so much. And it's easy to see that she is really utilizing her gifts in order to help other people. And the universe is going to magnify that. The universe is going to make that explode so that consciousness can be raised, right? So that people can learn that they have so much more in common with each other than they have differences. Oh my gosh, what is that Maya Angelou poem? We are so much more alike than we are unlike. So the 15 is a very beautiful number to have in your destiny. It's a very unifying number, and it's a number of helping other people with your mission. When we see 8 show up, 8 is the number of learning cause and effect relationships. One of the missions, one of the things that she wanted to learn in this incarnation is the intricacies of cause and effect. Primarily, this is important to learn in order to be able to take responsibility for your life, to not be in a victim mentality, to take accountability for how you've gotten to the place that you've gotten, how you found yourself there, and what you need to change, what you need to shift inside of yourself in order to manifest a more aligned reality. So essentially, it's like the number of accountability. It's like learning to say, okay, how did I get myself into this position? How did I find myself here? What do I need to shift internally in order to get out of this cycle, to not repeat it again? And how can I help others do the same? It's important for her to share these experiences where she's like, okay, like, let's say I had a horrible date and I should have vetted this guy, or I should have done this and this and this. Like, she has a takeaway from this kind of experience, and it's important for her to share it with other people. And it's very interesting to me, as I brought that up, I'm like, it's very interesting to me that that is such a core lesson when it comes to life and people's journey, to share their experiences and not to just clam up and not use their voice to talk about what they've been through. It's so interesting that one of the first signs of an abusive relationship is that the person will cut you off from your family, from your friends. They'll try to get you to turn on your friends and say that your friends are not good for you, they're a bad influence. In fact, in my experience with my abusive marriage, my then husband went out of his way to try and convince me that my best friend that I've known since childhood was a bad influence on me, and that she was the problem, that she was causing our relationship issues, and that she was the one that was telling me to leave him, even though she never, and I respect her so much for this, she never ever once told me, like, you need to leave. She knew that that was like my own personal journey to take. Like, I needed to make that decision for myself. I needed to come to that realization by myself. Albeit it took me an embarrassingly long amount of time to realize that, but that's the first thing abusers go for. They want to cut you off. They want you cut off from your circle, cut off from other people and their experiences, because other people are going to be like, oh my God, that is so not okay what he's doing. They're going to help you see the light. And that is what 8 is about. 8 is about sharing your experience with other people, taking accountability for your life, and making sure that through your experience, other people can learn from it and not make the same mistakes. Lastly, the number 5. The number 5 destiny number is all about exploration, exploring new things, not being afraid to get out of the box that society has put you in or that you've put yourself in, and to learn new things. It's all about not standing still. It's all about not staying stagnant. It wants you to experience as much as you possibly can. And it comes with a gift of being able to speak on really complex issues, which, ding, 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 that's entirely what Alex Cooper is known for. Come on. And it even mentions that you can talk about these complex issues with a broadcast audience, which is exactly what she did. I kid you not. It's in her soul contract to talk to audiences about these things that she can observe, conclusions that she comes to. So we see these same themes in her soul contract over and over again about voicing your experience, sharing it with others, even having a broadcast audience, because she's so good at recognizing patterns. She's so good at picking up on complex ideas and speaking about them. When you have that kind of rough draft for what your soul came here to do, it's easy to be like, okay, I understand the logistics, the idea that my soul was going for. You kind of have the structure, like the blueprint for what it is that you wanted to accomplish. And now it's up to you to be like, okay, well, as a kid, I always wanted to do this and this and this. Like, I had a passion for this, and it was either quelched by one thing or another. And I kind of let it go. But I see now that there was a reason I wanted to do that thing. And it brings me joy, it brings me happiness, it brings me excitement. So I should hone in on how I can use that to help others, how I can use that to fulfill my mission, to fulfill the things that I wanted to incarnate here to do. Her general destiny. So, like, the basics, the baseline of her destiny. Are you guys ready? Is, I'm going to read this word for word, that she should try to share important information coming from above, creatively, in her own way, in her own style, implementing all creative opportunities. And I feel that she's done that. She's done that with Call Her Daddy, and then branching out and making her own brand called Unwell. Like, she's been implementing different kinds of creative opportunities here. Let's close out with her personality. I usually start with personalities. I don't know why I felt like I want to get right to the nitty gritty. You know what? No, I lied. I do know why I wanted to get right into her subconscious patterns, because I really wanted to see if she had the millionaire program. And the millionaire program is basically your soul agreeing to come into a large amount of money at some point in their incarnation, either through inheritance, luck, hard work, or just some kind of gift. And I wanted to see if she had that program, and she does not. Her success is entirely her own. She was meant to experience that success. She wanted to experience a variety of accomplishments in this lifetime, and we see that in her sacred sacrifice program. But yeah, it's very easy to see why she blew up the way that she did because she has a natural gift for this that's written all over her soul contract. Now, she has the number 21 and 8 in her personality. Being born on the 21st means that you love to be in a state of peace and harmony with the world around you. This is somebody that is a lover, not a fighter. And they have a gift, 21s, of reconciling with other people, even reconciling conflicts that you had nothing to do with. They're something of a peacemaker. 21s usually are able to feel very deeply and have a deep understanding of the essence of things. And 21s usually work on a global scale within their gifts. Like they're able to get to a place where they utilize their gifts, where they utilize their mission to help people on a global scale, which is check. And they bring good, they help a lot of people globally. 21s also have a gift when it comes to learning new languages. I'm not sure if she knows any other language, Alex Cooper, but she has a tendency of being able to learn them faster than others. And 21s have this natural disposition to work on global, like wide scale projects like Olympics, like working like in a world famous brand where you have to travel a lot for it. While 8 is characterized by independence and a depth of aspirations. 8s like to seek truth and justice. They love to learn. They love to take different courses. They love to study cause and effect relationships, the laws of fate and karma. 8s are very responsible people, and they often protect the underdog. They have this like inclination to try and help them. They're also a really good person to have in a crisis situation because they're good in emergencies. They're not somebody that starts to freak out. They're somebody that can think clearly, calmly, and take the necessary steps to make sure that everybody's okay, that everybody's safe. And in her personality part of her soul contract, for her social part, she has the number 5. And number 5 socially is all about being a natural speaker, a natural mentor, a natural public speaker. They're really good at it. Number 5s don't have any issues communicating. They also have this really strict inner guru, an inner self who acts like this all-knowing judge and might be very harsh on themselves. This inner guru is also kind of a little superpower for number 5s because it gives them this kind of know-it-all role that attracts an audience, that attracts a following. And number 5 socially, it's really important for them to really love what it is that they do, really love what they contribute to the world. That is most important for them, to be able to continue to do what they do as long as they genuinely love it. Number 5s are meant to learn to not be afraid to share their experiences, to not be afraid to make mistakes, and to not be afraid to talk about their feelings. And that is what I have for you guys for Alex Cooper's soul contract. This is a great example of how the numbers in your soul contract can give you a guideline of what it is that you are meant to do in life, of what your mission is. It is like it's riddled in breadcrumbs to help you come to the realization, I was meant to do this with my life. I was meant to do that with my life. And it is clear that Alex Cooper was made to be in the exact spot where she is right now, doing the work that she is doing. I think she's doing it incredibly well, and she is able to use that work as a message of empowerment, as a message of unity, and that's very high vibrational. Anyone that seeks to divide people, make it you versus them, us versus them kind of thing, is not operating from a very high vibration. So absolutely love this for Alex Cooper. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to Alex Cooper's soul contract. If you were interested in getting to know your own soul contract, you can do so by going to my website at thesoulecosystem.com or my Etsy store at The Soul Ecosystem to book your own soul contract reading or soul contract call. Thank you guys so much. I will see you next Friday on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple. Have a great weekend.